welcome to this explainer. So, picture this. You're sitting in a classroom, or walking down the street, or maybe just grabbing a coffee, and boom, you suddenly catch a stranger staring right at you. You instantly pull that classic pretend to check my phone maneuver, right? We've all been there. It is a completely universal and, let's be real, slightly awkward experience. Okay, let's dive into this, because the psychology behind this exact split-second moment is absolutely fascinating, and it's going to completely flip the script on what you probably think is happening.
The literal second it happens, your brain just kicks right into overdrive, doesn't it? You immediately start asking yourself, wait, was something wrong with me? Do I have a massive stain on my shirt? Did they judge me? Or, wait, were they attracted to me? It's just this sudden, massive spike of paranoia. Being caught in a quick glance triggers this deep-seated need we all have to evaluate social situations. And, naturally, our minds jump straight to the absolute worst-case scenario. But here is the big secret psychology tells us. That rapid darting of the eyes, it reveals way more about their internal state than it ever does about you. So honestly, take a deep breath. Let go of those insecurities for a second. Instead of turning the microscope on your own perceived flaws, we're going to flip it around and look at the other person's psychological state. Because once you actually understand the hidden reasons behind this knee-jerk reflex, you are never going to see a passing glance the exact same way again.
Section 1. The awkward glance. This is the very first layer of our psychological iceberg. Humans are basically biologically wired to observe. Our brains are essentially scanning machines, constantly evaluating the people around us for emotions, confidence, or potential danger without us even realizing it. So an initial look doesn't automatically mean anything negative at all.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the intense array of emotions that actually trigger someone to break that connection. The real psychology starts the exact second you notice them noticing you. Instinct just instantly takes over. Why do they look away? Well, it boils down to nervousness, attraction, intimidation, insecurity, or sometimes just plain old curiosity. See, when you catch their gaze, you create this sudden psychological pressure. The interaction instantly goes from being a passive observation to feeling intensely personal. Section 2. The vulnerability of eye contact. We're going one layer deeper into the mind now to look at emotional intensity. Prolonged eye contact is incredibly powerful because it drastically increases emotional awareness and heightens self-consciousness. It essentially forces a sudden, unexpected moment of connection. And the truth is, most people unconsciously avoid that kind of intense emotional exposure. Think about it. Most communication today happens through screens instead of real human interaction. Because we spend so much of our lives texting, swiping, and scrolling, raw, direct eye contact in the real world feels incredibly vulnerable. It almost feels emotionally naked. So when someone gets caught in your gaze, their immediate modern instinct is to escape that intensity and vulnerability just as fast as humanly possible. Section 3. Attraction, anxiety, and confidence. This is where we uncover a really surprising psychological truth that most folks get completely backward. You might assume someone looks away because they find you unappealing or weird, right? But actually, people often look away the absolute fastest when they are genuinely interested in or attracted to you. Let's break down what we call the shy retreat. Here is the panic cycle of an attracted person. Step 1, they look because they're interested. Step 2, they get caught. Step 3, retreat instantly. Why? Because attraction naturally creates anxiety. Their brain becomes hyper-aware of being caught looking. The moment eye contact happens, panic kicks in, and their mind is literally screaming, "Don't make it obvious." That quick look away is just an unconscious attempt to hide their interest. They retreat not because they dislike you, but because your presence actually affected them emotionally. Let's compare how confidence completely changes this dynamic. Take a look at insecure eye contact versus confident eye contact. Confident people hold eye contact longer. They remain super calm and are totally unfazed by evaluation. Insecure eye contact, on the other hand, is characterized by a deep fear of judgment and those quick, darting breaks. So the crucial takeaway here is this. If someone quickly looks away from you, it often reflects their own social anxiety or fear of rejection. Ironically, it might just mean your presence feels psychologically strong and maybe even a little intimidating to them. Section 4. The evolutionary overthinking trap. Let's shift the focus back to you for a second. When that awkward glance happens, the other person usually forgets the interaction in literally seconds. But your brain takes that tiny, fleeting moment and magnifies it completely out of proportion. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why we do that. Thousands of years ago, Human beings were biologically wired to care deeply about social acceptance, simply because rejection from the tribe literally meant danger and death. Fast forward to today, and your mind is still running that exact same ancient survival software. It treats a tiny, meaningless glance on the street like a literal life-or-death situation. We overthink these minor social interactions because, well, our ancestors had to do it just to survive. Section 5. The Power of Presence. Here we reach the deepest layer of the psychological iceberg, the unspoken dynamic.
Every single time eyes meet, there's an unspoken power dynamic established in a fraction of a second. The person who stays calm and holds the gaze often appears and physically feels way more confident. Let's look at what presence really means. Confidence, mystery, calmness, emotional control, uniqueness, or intense energy. Presence doesn't always just mean physical attractiveness. Some people naturally command attention without speaking a single word. When others feel psychologically seen by someone wielding this kind of strong presence, someone like you, they instinctively break eye contact first just to relieve the pressure of that invisible power dynamic.
Which brings us to our final thought. The eyes rarely lie, even when they look away. Human behavior is just incredibly complex. Sometimes people are nervous, sometimes curious, sometimes attracted, and sometimes intimidated. But the next time someone looks at you and quickly darts their eyes away, stop assuming the negative. You now have the toolkit to understand the hidden, silent conversations happening all around you. What if that momentary glance wasn't a judgment of your flaws, but an unconscious, undeniable reaction to your overwhelming presence? Keep that in mind the next time you catch a stranger's eye.